Swati is the star called Arcturus, which is the crotch of the constellation Boötes, which is just north of the feet of the Virgo constellation. Its sidereal coordinates span from Libra 6 degrees 40 to 20, which is equivalent to Scorpio 2 degrees 40 to 16 degrees in the tropical. As with all the Vedic things, there's a lot of information in the name itself. The name Swati derives from the word Svata, which means selfness. So this is the star of individuality. Svati is the nakshatra of things which are individualized. They stand out, they're different, they're unique. The symbol most commonly used to illustrate Svati is a flower bending in the wind. So it's showing individuality because you see something trying to stand out. You see something trying to go against the grain, be unique, be seen. And what's also important in this symbol is that you see the wind, the air, the breeze, because the Devata, the god of Swati, is Vayu. Now Vayu is sometimes called the wind god, but is not exactly correct. The Marutas or the Rudras, those are the wind gods in the sense of powerful, destructive storms and winds. Vayu is not that sort of wind god, powerful, destructive. Vayu is the god of air. And there's many different forms of air. Sure, one of them is wind, but really the most important form of air is Prāṇa. The closest modern approximation you can get to easily understanding a snapshot of what Prāṇa is just think of our concept of oxygen. Prāṇa is basically oxygen, and Vayu, the god of air, is therefore the god of oxygen, the most important part of air. If you don't get oxygen, your brain shuts down first. So oxygen is super important to your central nervous system, and then if you don't get oxygen long enough, you die. So what does Prāṇa have to do with individuality? Everything. If you get deprived of oxygen, you'll notice that the first thing that happens is you faint. Your brain will start to malfunction, and one of the first symptoms of oxygen deprivation is brain damage. So oxygen is really crucial and essential for the central nervous system and the function of the brain. That's what Prāṇa does in the Vedic system as well. It's the bridge or the link between what we call a body and what we call a mind. Prāṇa is what allows those electrical chemical combustions to take place and transfers that energy or information to a shukshma sharira, a subtle form of existence, a non-physical form of existence, which we think of as a psyche or a mind. So without Prāṇa, it's impossible to link into your body. And without a body, it's impossible to be an individual. I'll read you a cool story in this regard from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which I tell in my book. The gods of the human body held a contest to see who among them was the most important. They selected a man to serve as the arena for their contest. One by one, the different deities left that man's body. When the god of vision left, the man became blind and morose. Similarly, when other deities abandoned him, the man lost other important functions. But when Vayu stood up to leave that man, every deity of the body became uprooted and forced to leave too. Then Vayu sat back down and everyone returned to normal. Everyone then admitted that nothing is more important to an individual's existence than Vayu, the god of breath. So this is a really cool story, showing the fact that if you can't link your mind to your body, then the rest of whatever operates in your body is useless. The mind is so important because it's the mirror for consciousness coming off the soul. So if you can't link it to the body, you can't manifest your individuality. Individuality is an important concept. Some people say that it only arises because of the link between consciousness and the body, that it's not inherent in the consciousness itself. But this is not real Vedanta. Real Vedanta is based on a very important logic that the effect can't have an important quality which is not present in the cause. So you can't get an individual from something that has no individuality. Because consciousness is perception, and as soon as you perceive something, you become distinct from the object which you're perceiving, and you have your own individual existence. So consciousness has individuality built into it. This is why you can go into deep sleep without even a dream or any contact with your mind, but still wake back up and actually remember having been asleep. So Mundaka Upanishad, for example, says, the wise perceive the individual soul floating on 5 life airs. The true individual, however, does not manifest until it is purified of contact with those life airs. So the Mundaka Upanishad is showing that actual individuality is in the consciousness itself, not imposed on it by its link to a body. But because the consciousness itself has individuality in it, it can link to a body and manifest its individuality. But in any case, coming back to Svati Nakshatra, you see how important prana is to being an individual. It links you to your manifest form. And also of astrological significance, this is the reason why a birth chart is taken for the moment of the first breath. It doesn't matter when you come out from your mom. It matters when you take your first breath. Coming back a little bit more to Svati Nakshatra itself. So Swati, that's the star of individuality. Whatever you put in Swati, it's going to individualize itself. It's going to want to express itself differently. It's going to want to go against the grain and be unique. Individuality is a double-edged sword. In fact, one of the secondary symbols for this nakshatra Swati is a sword. And even the word Swati also means a sword, because swords cut things. And when you cut something, you individualize it into parts. That's the negative sense of individuality, is you're cutting yourself off. You're cutting yourself off from a larger self. So there's a negative side to individuality too. The positive side is, if you don't have individuality, you don't have anything. You can't experience anything without being an individual. But on the other hand, individuality can be divisive like a sword, cutting yourself off from another, going against the grain, fighting the others. The Vedanta is also very clear that the root of all our problems is the slicing of the self from the Paramatma, having a sense of self, or Atma, which is divorced from the super self, the Paramatma. We need to try to get a concept of individuality which is not divisive. That's the key for Svati Nakshatra, and whatever you have in Svati Nakshatra. Whatever planets you have in Svati Nakshatra are going to try to individualize themselves, make themselves unique and different from everybody else. But you have to watch for the alienation or separatism or self-importance that may come as a result of that. So you have to try to achieve Swati's individualization without achieving isolation. You have to become an individual part of the whole, not apart from the whole. And that's really my message for people who have things in Swati. Really think about that.